Hi, my name is Nib Camus Sen Atum Re, and this is the second part of the video entitled Breaking the Spell on Blacks. Now, we have all heard the proclamation that education will free us, Nubians. But will education free us from the spell? No. Education only makes you a bigger fool if you don't have the proper education and knowledge of self and kind, because then you are left open to accepting anything and everything without question, and that is how your mind has been programmed. Negro, a negative mentality, negative mind, is one which is void of real universal knowledge. Knowledge about time and origin of universes, stars, planets, and satellites, origin of oceans, mountains, vegetation, time and origin of races, cultures, and what each race is supposed to represent. Negro mentality is void of its own true spiritual science, and the powers which maintains a race's spiritual science are those that create a race's culture, make its history, and direct its way of life. Therefore, if a race does not have its own true spiritual science, the black sciences, it is void of what is necessary to make it free and regain that God state of mind. Nuwaupu is the science of the nine ether beings, Nuwaupians, blacks, Nubians, Egyptian Moors, effective spiritual science, black magic. It will make you God, supreme beings again, and nine ether utopia beings. They made black magic sound evil because they fear it. You are black and have miraculous powers. When you learn how to use them again, it will clear the fog of the ghost people, and your single eye will reopen. The Tamahu, or ghost man, or ghost people, the six ether evil spirit beings, also have a science that is the total opposite of what Nuwaupu is all about, and it is called Rahowa, which tells them how to destroy and disrupt white magic, the negative spirit forces, six ether forces, sympathy, pity, apathy, jealousy, discontent, self-defeat, and inferiority complexes. These feelings that are within the hearts and minds of blacks, sent to them by Leviathan. There is nothing wrong with violence for liberty and equality if you have a chance to win, and you don't. But there is no chance without nine ether spirit forces, black magic, to counteract the adverse forces and show the way to liberty, equality amongst self and kind. And you cannot see the way until the mind's eye is open, the soul you, the God you. The most deceptive word in religion is the word believe or belief, because a person can believe anything, and this means that a person can believe and be 100% wrong. But knowledge is knowing, and knowledge is correct information. To know gives one confidence, but to believe incurs doubt. Knowledge can be checked out by one or more of the three tests: experience, evidence, and reason. Knowledge is always logical and reasons out. The first step to Nuwaupu is the right knowledge, which will pass any one of the three tests that is practical for knowledge given. one cannot always use the experience test, because the experience test is not practical for all knowledge. The evidence and reason tests are those tests which are most often practical. Yet, Nuwaupu is the science of experience, evidence, and reason, because nine ether is the power of reason. Nine ether by nature is the Ish, the male living being, and the Ishao, the female living being, spirit forces of black people, Nubians or new beings, and our black power magic. Nine ether is the highest of all spiritual powers activated through melanin in nature and the hormones of the God human, Nitirat, Elohim, Anunnaki, manifesting ninth to the nine power of nine, pure blackness, which is the highest of all supreme mathematics, as seen in the natural curl of your hair texture. It is a scientific fact that the curlier the hair, the stronger the genes, meaning more gases in the formula. The Canaanite Caucasian never did and never will give others true spiritual and universal knowledge, because much of it they don't know themselves. Any real knowledge about universal powers and forces will enable others to rule themselves. Moreover, other races are not going to give woolly-haired people, blacks, Egyptian Moors, real universal knowledge and black magic, because real spiritual and universal knowledge is where real ruling power is found and exercised. This is something they, the Caucasian ghost man, may have knowledge of, yet still cannot exercise this spiritual power on their own without help of self and kind. In secret lodges like the Knights of Templar, Freemasons, Knights of Columbus, Rosicrucians, Astara, Theosophical Society, and the likes, they use just small portions of our knowledge. What they do know is kept amongst themselves, so that they may continue to rule the ignorant and the poor in their Luciferian white brotherhood, skull and bones. So no one can teach you but self and kind. For the time being, it may be permissible for the Canaanite Caucasian to teach occupational knowledge, jobs and trades, along with computers, mathematics, works and subjects that no one can be deceived with, but not subjects like history, religion, Judaism, Christianity, Mohammedanism, origins, etc. No, because the European and his descendants, presently called the Red Arabs and the Red Jews and the Greeks and the Romans, can never break the code and speak or read or write the original languages. So they have saturated the world with mistranslated documents called the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran, but their days have expired. It is time for the renewal of your history. Give him back his history, and you must start where it began, which is ancient Tamare, called Kemet, and falsely called Egypt. The Negro, mentally dead, does not know what it means to accept an alien religion. For example, if a person accepts Hinduism or Mohammedanism as his religion, he should know he has accepted the East Indians or Arabs as his visible gods. That's why they dress like them and want to look and be like them, which is other than your own self. Neither can he become equal with or have power over the East Indian or the Arab. So he becomes their slave again, not Allah's servant, but the Arab's servant, always trying to please them. If a person accepts his own spiritual science, Nuwaupu, he has accepted himself as his own and his own kind as the superior power. Then the visible and invisible forces and powers can easily work for you and with you for liberation and well-being. All religion is alien by nature to you, except the spiritual science Nuwaupu. Nuwaupu is the equalizer for you anywhere and anytime. The result of cruel suppression of the mind and the accumulation of gross ignorance is the state of miserable conditions where the slave and the slave master, or the captive and the captor, pray to the same God, and the black man becomes damned. Since the slave master is the enemy of the slave, if the slave prays to the same white-skinned ghost spook god as the master, he is praying to the God that enabled the slave master to enslave him, the captive, the enemy of the slave or captive, just as the slave master is. The one God doctrine that the slave master indoctrinated the slave with is really worship of himself and his white image. The Tamahu people last stand to perpetuate his spell, influence, and rule is his woman, white women. He used to let an old Tamahu woman slip out of his hands once in a while to one of his real good Negro captives. But when you see the Tamahu man letting his girls and young women go hand in hand with Negro males, that is a true sign of the decline and fall of white power and rule, because he will only let some of his young women go freely but reluctantly in order to try to keep the oppressed confused, deceived, and spellbound for the purpose of remaining master as long as possible. To love other than self and the kind is to put your soul in submission to the devil, and you forfeit your divinity as gods called Elohim and become less than beasts. A person can be with you one moment and then turned against you in an instant. They think to be in the struggle for self and kind against the forces of six ether beings is an imprisonment. When they rejoin the world of evil, they are happy because they are no longer fighting against evil forces. They have become a part of them, to aid them, to work for them and with them. So they really think they are free, and their body is, but not their soul. Once a black person returns to their world and way of thinking, white magic has triumphed over them and all their family and seed, all alive and dead. Our Supreme Grand Hierophant Amunubi Ra Akhtar came up from the ninth chamber with the power to defeat the devil and his host and ghost. He is authorized and appointed by the female forces of nature to be our teacher, to determine and disclose to the people, especially those of his own kind, the hidden past, the changing present, and the ruling future. Forces of nature, the 9 ether forces that created and grew this planet, so that woolly-haired people everywhere may have and exercise free mind and God mind, and thereby enjoy freedom and equality. If you have free minds, you will do free things. And if you have equal minds to other members of your race, you will do equal things. Think equal or greater than other races, because your mental capacity as incarnations of original creative forces are greater than that of others. Once your minds break from prison, freedom requires a free mind and the responsibilities of a free mind. The power and forces of Nuwaupu are liberation and salvation for Egyptian Moors, blacks, and woolly-haired people everywhere. Liberation is mental and physical separation from opposing forces, and salvation is keeping opposing forces away from woolly-haired people after they have been liberated. Therefore, salvation comes after liberation and is the maintenance and perpetuation of liberty, justice, equality, and rightness. This information helps to open the prison gate that has your minds locked in. And as the gate of mental confinement opens, ignorance will flee, and the right knowledge, the right wisdom, and the right understanding will become the keepers of your minds. Overstanding is standing in heaven, understanding is standing in hell. These are the black sciences and the black magic that has worked for us. Knowledge and formulas that created the pyramids, and of which the great civilization of ancient Tamare Egypt were built. Nuwaupu is the spiritual science of all woolly-haired Nuwaupians, black people throughout the universes, which gives you soul and makes you soul people. These are the wonders that Patamahu, the Canaanite Caucasian beastmen, have not yet figured out even up till today. That ends today's video. We hope you have learned something from this video, and we urge you to share this video and to subscribe to the only channel where you will learn true ancient Egyptian mysteries. No more lies, no more guesswork. So share, subscribe, click on the like button below. See you at the next video.